So good morning again. So for our discussion for today, we will talk about on how you're going to do your results and discussion for chapter 4 of your qualitative research. Now we have talked about this in a previous lecture, but it would be best to talk about this lecture again, so as you will be clarified on what to do with your actual results and discussion. And later on, I'll be giving an example of one research on how the student was able to have created the results and discussion for chapter 4. Now, our lecture for today provides an in-depth explanation of how to write the results and discussion chapter, particularly for your qualitative research in chapter 4. Now, this will have to cover the different meanings of the results. So ano ibig sabihin ng results, the role of discussion, and how to present the themes, and use participant quotations, the direct quotations from your participants. You have to get them and be able to put them in the results and discussion. You have to incorporate citations, which is very important. Citations are important. We'll talk about it later on, because this will make your point valid and scholarly. And the readers of your actual research would not say that this you have just invented or you just made up the actual results, because this is also based on existing literature. And of course, to ensure clarity, that whatever results that you will be getting, it is aligned with actual literature and research findings. So this would have to includes guidelines also for writing your chapter 5. How will you write your conclusion and even your recommendations, as well as the essential components of a research abstract. Abstracts are usually done when you're done with your chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Normally, it is around 300 to 500 words. So you'll be able to see later on how to be able to create your abstract or the elements in an abstract. So these are some of our learning outcomes for today. The purpose and structure, we'll be able to explain on that, the results and discussion chapter in the qualitative research, and what are these themes, what are these direct quotations for your participants, and how to interpret it clearly, and understand the importance of citing literature when interpreting the themes. So write clear conclusions and recommendations, particularly for chapter 5, and identify the essential elements of an abstract, and be able to construct one effectively later on. In our next meeting, we will be meeting on Friday, so I need to be able to see an actual printout already on what you have done. Okay? Gusto ko makakita ng ebidensya that you are already actually doing the results and discussion. So attend my class with the actual evidences of your chapter 4, which is results and discussion. I'd like to see the answers of your participants, whether it's in Google form, how you're able to do your coding, how you are able to categorize it, and the creation of your themes. And maybe some of you have already translated it into the actual paragraph form. I would like to see that as well. Okay, because every printouts that you get to submit, that is equivalent to your quizzes and the activities in the class. Now we move forward to the results in a qualitative research. What is the importance of results in a research? Now this presents the core findings drawn from your participants' narratives, the experiences, and even the opinions. So we have to be able to get them. We have to be able to categorize or code them, categorize, and later on from the responses, we'll be able to create a theme that would eventually be able to answer our research questions. Now, these findings, again, are not numerical. We will not look for the percentages or even numbers. Instead, what will appear in your actual paper are patterns, categories, and the themes created from your analysis. Now, the results aim to reveal what the participants said, what they feel, and what they actually experience, staying close to their actual words. Now, what is discussion in chapter 4? So maybe so alam nyo na yung results, the actual findings. Now, why they need to do the discussion? Now, the discussion interprets the meaning of the results. You don't just put the results without explaining it. So this will explain, or it explains why the findings matter and connects them with existing literature coming from the journal articles, from the researches, and definitely coming from your RRL of your chapter 2. And that's why if you submit only 2 or 3 pages of your chapter 2, patay tayo dyan, because that means that you have not exhausted all efforts to be able to let your readers and your research say that this is indeed based on literature. And that's why this is not written in any research books. Normally, the number of pages would be 8 or 10 more pages. That's double space. So if you submit them less than 8 pages, you might be questioned later on, because how will you cite the results of your research questions, particularly the themes, pag wala doon if it is not found in the literature? So what you will be doing later on is to be able to look for that literature and be able to add that to your RRL. If you're not be able to do that, then there would be something wrong with your research. So you're actually getting the responses of your participants without solidifying or without telling your readers that this is indeed true based on literature. You have to be able to add. If you need to create new themes in your literature, so be it. We will be doing the backward design, pabaliktad, no? And adding more literature to your chapter 2. Now, going back to your discussions in the qualitative research, now the discussion gives depth. That's why there's a discussion, an analysis, and a scholarly insight to the themes that emerge. Now, on the first part of your results and discussion, ito na yung sa actual paper, you have to create a paragraph of like an introductory paragraph for your results and discussion. So there are 3 examples. Let me just get one. The third paragraph says, this chapter outlines the major themes identified from the experiences of community volunteers. Their insights revealed multiple patterns related to service, personal fulfillment, and social responsibility. And the discussion connects these themes to previous studies to provide a broader understanding. So most likely this example of the introductory part of results and discussion, the research maybe is all about volunteerism. Okay? So that's an example. So you will have to be able to do that. Now, after the introductory paragraph, you need to be able to state your research question. Ganun rin yan in the succeeding research question number 1, your theme, your direct quotation, and the citation. So the reason for stating the research question is that including the research question or including your research question at the beginning of chapter 4 ensures that your readers clearly understand the focus of the analysis. And this would also align the presentation of your findings with your purpose. Remember, you made the purpose statement in your statement of the problem, guides the interpretation of your themes, and strengthens the connection between your results and your aims. Remember, we were talking about before that the aims is the actual objectives of your study that can be found in your introduction in chapter 1, primarily the 4th paragraph of your introduction. Now, the themes next to your research question would be the theme. So ito yung na-extract ninyo na theme or themes. It could be 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Then you will have to be able to explain the theme. You need not put theme number 1, yung ganitong theme na nakalagay dito, but you will just have to directly place or put navigating uncertainty. And then you have to be able to explain what this theme is all about. For example, navigating uncertainty, this theme reflects students' feelings of confusion and uncertainty when choosing a college course. So participants shared the lack of exposure to reveal career environments made decision-making difficult. Other examples of the themes, you can actually see it here. Now, after the themes is that direct quotations from your participants, and we'll talk about the importance. Example, you you got the direct quotation. I feel confused about what course to take because everything seems unclear. You will have to also cite who was this participant. Let's say participant number one, according to participant one, I feel confused about what courses to take because everything seems unclear. However, participant number two said that my parents want to blah blah blah, and the rest. Now, why do we need to? Why do we need quotations? Okay, I think Jewel is here already. Okay. Sige. The direct quotation, I think those are some of the samples of direct quotations. So we need the direct quotations in your results and discussion because this will allow your readers to hear the participants' voices directly. And this would enhance the credibility, support your themes, and provide authentic evidence for the researchers' uh, interpretation. Now, hold on for a second, guys. Okay, now in doing getting the actual why also one of the explanations on why we need the direct quotations, okay, coming from your participants is that this is very important in your research, primarily because of two important points. Because of let me just type this one. Because of the issue of uh, reliability and validity. Yan, tatanungin yan later on in the panel might be able to ask you later on how reliable and valid, okay, are your research questions or the data that they have collected, particularly for your chapter 4. Now, when we talk about, let's start first with um, relia reliability. Um, it is also known as the trust worthiness or consistency. Trust. Okay? Reliability is the trustworthiness or consistency of your data, yung mga nakolektan ninyo. So, is it consistent? Consistency of your findings. So, if another research studied the same topic in a similar way, they would find similar patterns or themes. There is also one description of reliability, which means dependability. So your process or the researcher's process should be clear, it should be logical, and it should be well documented so that others can follow how conclusions later on will be reached. And of course, reliability means that the stability of your data. The data and the interpretations are not purely random. So you make sense and you stay consistent over time. And another important term is what we call the validity, okay, of the results or the credibility. Okay, credible ba yan? Okay. There should be truthfulness of the findings. The results truly reflect what the participants meant or experienced. And that's why later on, when they have accomplished the research questionnaires or you have interviewed them, you have to show them the actual transcription. You have to give it back to them and tell them, this is what this is your answer, or this are your answers, or this is the actual transcription. Para later on, sasabihin nila na, oh, yan nga yung mga sinabi ko. That you have actually interviewed them. You're validating na yung ni-record mo or yung nakuha mo through Google Form, yun yung talagang sinabi nila at hindi ghost participant yan. Okay? Again, hindi ghost participant yan. Hindi lang yan, you did not just made it up, or it's not just an imaginative or imagination or your own imagination or an imaginative participant. No. So you have to be able to return it back, show to them, and then if later on the panelists would tell you, given evidence, then you could just show, kunyari, the email, okay, i-ready nyo lang yun, the email of your participants that said that, yan nga yung mga sinabi ko. Or let's say, your participants did sign yung transcription that this is what I have said. Okay, to make it valid, to make that valid. Now, the data that you will be collecting should be credible. Now, the research captures the real meanings and the perspectives of the participants, not your bias. Dapat hindi makikita yung bias mo. And that's why in the research that you have conducted, you're doing, the panelists might ask, is it not that your research is biased? Kasi ikaw mismo may ganyan kang experience. So you will just, of course, have to deny it, that you have nothing to do with the actual research, that you are not personally reliant, or you are not connecting yourself with the actual research, and this is just based purely on the participants' perspectives. Palaging yung tatandaan yun. It's not you, the researcher, but it is your participants, particularly in the collection of the data. And when you talk about validity, authenticity is very important. Tunay ba yan? Authentic ba yan? Now, your study should represent the participant's voice or voices and the context accurately and fairly. And that's why you have to show them again na ito yung sinabi ninyo. Hindi ko invento to. That's what you are going to be able to do. So that's validity and reliability. Now, the use of citations and their importance. Now, ito na naman, citations are very important, especially in the results and discussion. You can do this on the end part of, kunyari, yung sa results and discussion. Research question number 1, ulitin natin, results and discussion, introductory paragraph nyo, research question number 1, the explanation, research question number 1, okay, the theme, the explanation of your theme. Okay, pwede na rin kayo mag-citation doon if you want to. The direct quotation. Okay, those direct quotations are connected to your themes. And you should be able to explain the direct quotation and how it is connected with your theme. And the last part would be the actual citation. Kasi yung iba ginagawa, yung citation, pagkatapos yung direct quotation, iba naman ginagawa, ini-include na doon sa explanation nila with the theme, or the inclusion of the direct quotation, meron ng explanation doon or meron ng citation. Now, the reasons citations are very important, primarily because of the following. They strengthen the credibility of your discussion, demonstrate the researcher's understanding of related studies. They connect the findings to broader academic conversations. They validate the themes with scholarly evidence, and they show whether the findings confirm or contradict in the earlier researches. Now, these are the reasons why your chapter 4 must be clear. So the clear presentation ensures that the readers of your research understand how the findings answer your research questions. So this would also improve the trustworthiness of your study. That's why we talked about the reliability and the validity of the data that you have collected. So it prevents misinterpretation of the participant experiences and strengthens the basis for conclusion and recommendations, and makes the study useful for later on for policymakers, for educators, or future researchers. And now, so that's chapter 4. Now, in the chapter 5 naman, you have the conclusion recommendations. So the conclusion summarizes the major findings and explains what they meant in relation to the research question. Now, recommendation propose actions, improvements, or future directions based on the study's findings. Now, there are 8 ways to present conclusion and recommendation, but I'll be giving an example later on with the work of Rio Bautista, the former alumni of the senior high school, and how she did this one. So the summary based on the research questions, summary based on the themes, implication for practice, for policy, suggestions for research, future research, for program development by yan, action plan for your organization, or participant-driven insights. And then finally, the abstract. This will be conducted when you're done with your chapters 1 until the chapter 5. This is a short summary of the entire research paper containing its background, their purpose, the methods, the findings, and even the conclusion. So important elements in the abstract. Number 1, background, introduces the topic. Example, the study examines how students prepare for college. The purpose, ito yung purpose statement that you will be getting from your statement of the problem. The method, ano yung research design mo, and who are your participants. And results, you have to state your themes and explain them briefly. And the conclusion, the brief insight. Students need more structured career preparation. That's an example only for specific research. And the key words. Normally, the keywords are 4 to 5 keywords. Okay. Now, these are samples of the actual abstracts. So, tatlo yan, dalawa. So, let me get the second one. This research examined the challenges encountered by single mothers during remote learning through thematic analysis of interviews with 10 participants. The study revealed themes related to emotional strain, time management difficulties, and adaptive coping strategies. So the findings highlight the importance of flexible school policies and community support systems for single-parent households. So, ayan. I guess yun na. That's our discussion for today. Tapos, I will be sharing later on. I will be putting this already in the Silid Aral LMS. So, aside from the YouTube lectures and the PDF, I will already be putting inputs already or materials in the Silid LMS for you to be able to check as well. Okay? Sige. Can you kindly switch on your camera for our attendance for today? Yeah. Okay, sige. Let's have a picture all together. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, sige. When we meet on Friday, make sure to give me the evidence of the actual results and discussion in the class. Okay? Sige. I'll be seeing you on Friday. Thank you, everyone.